All right, I'm going to show you guys how to reassemble this Farmall H carburetor. So this is an International Harvester carburetor, the original one. There's a couple different types, but they're all generally the same layout. I've taken this off probably like 6 times. I don't think it's actually the issue, but there was some issues that you'll see in my video in getting the Farmall H to start. I'm just going to go over the general layout of this and putting it back together. Some things that I saw that you should look out for. Hey, Ry, you want to help? Let's put this back together. Okay, so I'm going to start with the top of this carburetor. There's two parts to this, bottom and top of this carburetor. I had it sitting in a parts cleaner, which worked pretty well. I already had it cleaned up, but I just want to go through it again. I'm going to paint it eventually, but not until I have this tractor running. Very important, make sure that you blow out all these little tunnels and holes with some compressed air and some carb cleaner. Right here is very important. Also right here, where this fuel comes in, very important to make sure those are all going to assemble the needle seat and the gasket. There's a little gasket with this seat. Make sure that you can see through this. You'd be surprised how many I've seen that you cannot do that. So just make sure it's not plugged up. I'm going to put that in. All right, that fit a 7/16 deep well socket. So that's a 7/16. This is a Steiner rebuild kit. We want to make sure this needle is pretty cleaned up. I'm going to give it another spray down. And this needle will point up into the fuel inlet. This will be sticking out this direction. So this is what the float, if I can get this to adjust, will eventually sit on. There we go. That float will sit on that, and that will stop the fuel from coming out. Okay, the float, very important. This float, make sure that it is not holding any fuel. Give it a float test, sit it in some water. A bowl of water will work fine. Make sure it floats. My last float, actually, the needle stuck when I originally started working on this tractor, and then once I got fuel to the bowl, I realized that this was full of fuel, so this had a leak, and I had to buy a new one. I did replace it, but I just wanted to make sure, so I got a brand new one, working well. So just make sure you check that. From what I've seen, to check this float, you want to measure up from the bottom. Make sure the top of the float is not over about 1 3/4 inches. 1 3/4 inches is the max it should be. Sitting at that level, we should be good. See how it sits on that? Nice. So this is at good level. Here's our main jet. Make sure you can see through these. See how you can see my hand through these? Blow some compressed air in this. I let this sit also in my parts cleaner. Make sure this is clean, has enough varnish and all this gunk off of it. I'm gonna give this another quick spray down. We're gonna insert in this as the main jet. Okay, so really important, this goes through and threads into this bottom portion that sticks out, so down here. So you can tighten through this with a flathead or tighten it up here. And this should be a 5/16 if I'm not mistaken. So it's a 5/16 deep well. You can tighten that up, snug it up. Pretty tight so that doesn't leak, not so tight that you strip it. All right, this is our fuel stop here. This will go in the bottom of the bowl. You want to tighten this down, snug this down until it stops. You don't want to go too far past that because then you risk damaging this needle here. And then what I want to do is then I'll back it out about 1.5 turn. All right, that was a 7/16, and then I backed this needle out 1.5 turns. We have our final needle here. It's going to go through the back side of this carburetor. This will help with air, if I'm not mistaken, and just regulate. So it helps regulate. We'll place this in, keep it about 1.5 turns off as well. So snug it down and then back it off a little bit. 1.5 turns. All right, and now I'm going to continue to spin this. And then once it snugs down, I don't want to go too far. I don't want to risk damaging this. I'll back it out 1.5 turns. That goes directly into this jet here. So I'm going to clean out this jet that goes in here. I'll show it to us. It threads in there. And then right beside is the orifice. Make sure this orifice has this little hole poking through the middle. Make sure that orifice is open. Compressed air, carburetor cleaner. Make sure that is open. If you look right here, also you have 2 outlets right there. So you can spray carb cleaner, compressed air through there to make sure these are both open and functioning properly. So again, this threads in. This is our small jet. As you can see right through that. Make sure you can see through that. Make sure this is open or this tractor will not run. Just like so. All right, now let's put the Venturi in the gas. Makes the Venturi sits down like this. A nice seal we want around this. A nice seal the gas can go over. Okay, just like so. We can bring these halves back together now. All right, these are back together now. Now we just have 3 flathead screws. And we are ready to put this back on. Hopefully we can get this thing to run. So that's just assembling our carburetor for a Farmall H. I hope this helps you. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for that. I didn't make one of those originally, but just taking this apart, I've had some issues with the H. So I wanted to take apart again, and I just figured, heck, I'll make a video on it just so I have it documented too. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And hopefully we can get this tractor running soon.